not only do we need to know how to visualize, we need to know how to protect our mind.
And what we try to do, I think, in everyday life is stop the stream. I want to stop my mind from thinking. You can't stop the stream. You can't stop the river.
And why would you want to stop your mind from thinking? Welcome to Martial Art Mindset. My name is Calvin.
And my name is Kevin.
And we are
The Blasian Twins.
So today, for our third podcast, what are we going to talk about?
Well, we're going to talk about being reminded.
Ooh. Reminded? Reminded about what?
Well, we'll get into the podcast. But first, we got to let people know, what is martial art mindset?
Martial art mindset. Martial art mindset is the mentality, the thought process, everything that goes into the lifestyle of being a martial artist, and how we take that very physical thing that we practice and train and do and take it into our everyday life, because it's much more than just punch, kick. It's much deeper than that. And so that's why the title of this podcast is Reminded.
We got some. Yeah, we got it. Let's show it. We got some tea right here.
Yes.
And it has a saying on it.
What kind of tea is yours?
Well, we got it right there, so you can look at it.
You look at yours. You read
Okay.
yours.
Oh, mine is it's a sweet tangerine to bring positive energy.
Ooh. And this one is the green tea, super antioxidant. Like green tea, he put some honey in there too. Also, Yogi, the Yogi tea brand, they have these cool little quotes they always have on there. Mine says,
We haven't read these yet.
"Your strength is your own belief." Ooh, be reminded about that. Your strength is your own belief. So, Yogi,
Hold on. You said
Drop
be.
some
Wait, hold on. You said be reminded of that.
be reminded
Of?
that your strength is your own belief.
Wow, that's amazing.
What's
Okay.
yours?
Okay, I haven't read it yet. Kindness is the light of life. That's nice.
So be kind. So 2 reminders from our tea. Your strength is your own belief, and
Oh, your strength is your own belief. I was enjoying the tea.
Let's reset. Okay, let's try that again. So the tea today said you need to be reminded that your strength is your own belief,
And kindness is the light of life.
Tea session over. All right, let's get into what we were talking about. So
Talk about tea, talk about liquid.
since we're talking about liquid, let's talk about a river. Why do we want to talk about a river? One, because our mind is like a river.
Stream of consciousness.
Stream, a river. And there's so many reasons why, as a martial artist, we need to talk about the mind. That's why it's the first thing we say in our mantra: mind, body, spirit. I use my mind to think. But there's so many other variables that go along with using your mind. So before I get into the analogy with the river, which I feel like you've already hit, it's a stream of consciousness. What do you think about when you think of the river of the mind?
It makes me think about how things are a cycle, how the water goes down into the stream, into the river, which eventually leads all the way to the ocean, and that is renewed, it is recycled. So the stream is always going, and what we try to do, I think, in everyday life is stop the stream. I want to stop my mind from thinking. You can't stop the stream. You can't stop the river.
And why would you want to stop your mind from thinking?
Well, a lot of people think that by stopping it, you help get it clarity.
Like, I think I know where you're getting with that is how a lot of people sit down and they're like, I want to meditate,
Mhm.
but I have trouble meditating.
Yes.
It's just I need to. I can't. They say sit down and breathe and clear your mind, but there's that monkey that's in that cage that's
Mhm.
always making that noise.
It's funny. I was
And-
thinking that.
but
I was in
drop
my
that-
stream of
drop-
consciousness.
Go ahead, drop.
No,
that
you
analogy.
started.
No,
Just-
because I want to talk about the river. You can talk about the monkey. Which side note, we were born the year of the monkey, so that's why we're always laughing at each other. Just because
Oh, that is true. You look. That means he looks funny. So
funny monkey. Go ahead and talk about that analogy though.
yeah, it's the analogy of a monkey in a cage. So if you think of your mind and you visualize, which we'll get back to visualization. So I want you to visualize a monkey in a cage, and that monkey is making all the noise that you want. Now, it's just making all kinds of noise, and what you try to do is just ignore it because
I'm trying to get
What
the
you-
sound effects.
I know
Go ahead.
it was
Go
a
ahead.
way too spot. All right.
Go ahead.
All right, so that monkey is just making all the noise in the cage, right? And you think that if when I meditate, if I just ignore all of that monkey making that sound, go ahead, make that sound, monkey. Yeah. Oh, if I ignore that, maybe. How can you ignore something that is clearly not gonna stop?
You can't.
So you know what's one thing you do?
What?
You give that monkey attention.
What kind of attention?
So instead of just ignoring it, you don't try to change it. You don't try to do anything. It's almost like you hear the monkey is making all the noise, and then you turn around and you're like, "What?"
And then the monkey's like,
So that's one energy you come with it. Or if the monkey is making all the racket, you turn and you see what it has to say. It says it's peace, and then it has no more noise to make.
what if it's a sad monkey?
Maybe there is no noise in your mind.
That's another conversation. Let's go ahead back. 'Cause, I mean, it's pretty prevalent from the analogy you shared about the monkey. Now let's throw that monkey in the river.
Oh man,
So
I don't want to throw a
let's-
monkey in the river. They can't swim.
Or can they? I don't know. It all depends. Your strength is your own belief. Right? Your strength is your own belief. So throw the monkey in the river, right? Let's say he doesn't have a boat or raft, one of his homies not to help pull him out.
He was
get
just
him
like
out
he fell in the
just
river.
Fell in the river. And it's rushing. It's like going. You can't. What can it do but go with the flow?
Mm-hmm.
And so with our minds, when we try to harness it, it can be a lot of energy. Because work isn't just physical where you take and move something. You also do mental work. There's
Mhm.
a lot of mental work that I think a lot of people don't realize, especially if you just do everything every day.
So a lot of
Day,
mental
just
work
straight,
in
just-
what do people not realize in what context?
mental work as, for instance, as an artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a martial artist, but as, let's say, an artist,
I mean, we're artists too.
right? Yeah,
Mhm.
beyond that, but beyond just a martial artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, in college, I had an art class. It was like the intro to art or whatever, and learning all the basics. And I remember, like, okay, the class is 3 hours, but I could only draw for only so long because I didn't build up that muscle that our mind is. Let's go ahead. Our mind is a muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And so my brain didn't have the capacity to work beyond like 30 minutes. I was just like, oh, this is frustrating. Because I was getting tired, literally. By the end of the semester, I'm sitting in there all night just drawing because I practiced 30 minutes, 30 minutes to an hour, hour to hour 30. Till it got to the point where it's like, oh, it's 3 hours. I need more time. So it's just the work that it takes to use the brain. It's incredible. There's so many things, as like I was saying, trying to harness that river. You can't harness it. If I went and tried
No,
to
you
swim
can't.
and stop the Mississippi River, I can't stop it.
No, you can't.
I wasn't designed to stop it. I was designed to just flow with it. So, along as you're going through that flow, you can control which direction you go, but your destination, you have to have hope and faith that you'll end up where you're going.
That's a scary part.
That's how we
hope and
operate.
faith. It is
everything
true.
we do. It's just like go in. Our family is a family full of nurses, doctors,
Oh man,
people in
extremely
the
smart
healthcare
people.
field, and they were just saying, "Hey, you should do this because you'll always have a job."
Yeah, they wanted us to go to school for nursing, and we chose our passion, which
Now we're doing this at the moment. Our passion, one, martial arts, filmmaking, continued on and guided our path through what we love doing.
we just
So-
rode the river.
Rode the river. Let's ride the river down this bullet point. What's the next point?
So visualization, which I actually have something that might help. We already have been, and what we always talk about, an easy way to reach not just yourself but other people is to make an image that you can see and remake in your mind. So let's talk about the visualization. How can we use this river of the mind idea and visualize it? One way you can take it is, of course, we're saying we're already in the river. Now let's change that. Instead of being in the river and it taking us, we step to the side when we meditate and stand on the side of the river and watch it go by.
Those are all your thoughts.
The stream
So-
of consciousness.
The stream of consciousness. The one thing, I forgot who shared it. I don't know. He had a class called Zen, like meditation or something like that. And
One with the divine within.
yeah, something like that. And they were practicing meditation. And I think it was in that class where they were talking about when you meditate, the way that you can, quote, clear your mind, because we just established you can't. But it's just let those thoughts ride by, fly by. Like let the thought, grab it and let it go. So it's acknowledged. The monkey is acknowledged. The river, you're touching it, but you're not getting engulfed in it. So that way, that's how you build up the repetition of sitting there and being able to let the thoughts flow.
You become an observer as compared to a participant.
Explain that more.
We are so hard working in our own mind to be a participant, to change things, that we don't take time to slow down and observe it. Through the observance, science, you have to observe something to be able to learn from it.
Dropping this. What's the scientific method?
Scientific method.
Yeah,
But-
let's actually pull it up as you explain this. I'll pull it up. Keep explaining.
So, how often do you actually observe your mind? And what I mean is, don't just let it go on and like the river is working, but you're not even looking at the river. So slow down and use this visualization of getting out of the river and observing it as compared to participating to see where your mind is.
Yeah. The first step of the scientific method, observe, make observations, right? So if you're starting your martial arts journey and you don't know where to start, just observe this podcast and see what you learn from it. The next step is the question. So you see a thought going by, visualizing it, visualization, whether you want it to be river or you floating through the clouds,
Whatever helps you out the most.
Your mind is powerful, so use all the tools that are built into it for your advantage instead of it controlling you. So observe, then it's question, and then it's research. Where does that research happen?
We have to find and go into the ocean of knowledge to get that research. The ocean is so vast,
Very.
it's so large that it's like knowledge. It seems endless.
Right. It is
So-
endless.
So how can you, when you go in the ocean, what are different things that you would look for? The research.
But you have to observe and see first, right? Are you at the top or are you in the deep end? You know, and that goes with your mind too. Are you above the surface, going where you need to, or are you in this deep abyss and you don't even realize it? You just see lights, but there's these creatures trying to eat you and trying to get at you. Those creatures, those thoughts, those things that are hard to control, and we need to be reminded. I'm not supposed to be at this level. Next thing, hypothesize. All right, I observed, I questioned the why am I here. Now
this is where, you start some refinement, where you start getting some clarity. So as compared to just being an observer of your mind, you start gaining clarity through asking, like hypothesizing.
Right. I hope y'all learned science, some type of science, and paid attention. So for those of you who haven't,
we're giving a rundown of this scientific method.
Yes, through martial arts. So hypothesis, a supposition or proposed explanation made on the basis of limited evidence as a starting point for further investigation. So that's Google's definition. It's very wordy. Pretty much, let's say, look, it says here, professional astronomers. You can't read.
Hold on.
It's so small. Professional astronomers attacked him for popularizing an unconfirmed hypothesis.
That's
okay,
just
here's a better one. I read that one. Why was that at the top? This should have been up there. Philosophy. A proposition made as a basis for reasoning without an assumption of its truth.
Ooh.
With that
repeat that part again.
Yeah, forget that first definition. Let's stick with this second one. A proposition made as a basis for reasoning without any assumption of its truth. So, make a hypothesis for us.
First, what are we observing?
All right, I'm down and stuck in this deep abyss in my mind.
Okay.
And I don't even know how to get out of there.
So you observe that you're around, what the things are around you. There's not much light. It's super dark. You're way down there. You can feel the negative thoughts or negative energy. Something heavy on you. Is that what you're observing?
Yeah.
All right. What's the next part?
The hypothesis.
No, the next part, so we can go all the way through it.
Hypothesize, experiment. Sorry, experiment.
No, so we got observe, you're in the deep abyss. Now, question. What is the question?
Here? What is this stuff around me?
So let's stick with why I'm... Okay, how did I get here? Let's stick with that question.
Research that. How did you get there? Well, I just kept swimming down, going down into a negative Nancy, and swam down with her.
Because you wanted to, maybe something led you there, something baited you down there, or maybe a precious memory fell down in there because it's no longer with you. That could be somebody passing away. That could be losing an item that was
a loved one, as far as like a relationship or a spouse or anything.
Even just a memory or a moment that was precious that got crushed when you found something that overrode that with negativity. So that's how you got there. Yeah, hypothesis. What do you want to hypothesize?
It's dangerous. Hypotheses can be dangerous. Hypothesize, hypothesis. How do you? I don't have it. What you hypothesize can be dangerous in your mind, because if you hypothesize like, it's all my fault that I got down here and I deserve this, you're going to stay stuck down there.
So why do you say that it's dangerous?
Because if you say it's my fault, then you can go one or two directions. It all depends. It can be positive or negative. Just like we have positive thoughts, there's negative thoughts, and they all coincide and make things work. But if we hypothesize on the negative end, it can be dangerous, because then that makes us forget that there is hope above at the surface.
Because you're going to search through more darkness and through it's my fault. So you try to figure out, which that still
Right.
is a way to the answer.
So then
To the
moving down to
truth.
the next step is
Mhm.
experiment. So if you're experimenting with the hypothesis, it's my fault. I did this to myself. I
You have to have
deserve
different
this.
variables
Right.
while you experiment.
So you can instead hypothesize. I want to. I'm able to get out of this because I swam down here. So if I swam down here,
So what is
I
the
can swim
constant? The
back up.
constant is that you're swimming.
moving, constant movement.
So the variables is staying still,
Mm-hmm.
swim moving up or moving down.
Mm-hmm. So then you experiment, you
Mm.
test the hypothesis, you draw a conclusion from there, then you make a report. So all of those
Ooh,
things
the report
you
is
have to do
important.
to your mind.
Mm-hmm.
You have to. Because if you don't, you're not going to be able to self-correct and make things better. To be able to remind yourself. There's a quote that Bruce Lee has that's really cool. It goes, all knowledge is self-knowledge. All knowledge is self-knowledge. So it sounds weird to be like, so am I teaching myself everything? Like, no. All knowledge is self-knowledge in the way of, if I paid attention to you teaching me something, you teach me a technique, yes, you were teaching me,
But
because
yourself
I
got it.
Yeah,
Mm.
because I chose to hold on to, say, you turn your jab over, turn your jab over. I could just be, you say jab and turn it over. I could just jab out and not pay attention.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, I think we got to talk about one thing, which you just saying, like, if I teach you a move, you choose to remember it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the capacity to be aware that you can remember it. Because just like the mind's a muscle, awareness is also a muscle.
Mm-hmm.
You have to practice that. Mm-hmm.
So we just talked about visualizing the mind. It's very powerful tools because you can use it to help you or to hinder you.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a martial artist, we don't just want to harness the power of what our mind can do, because mind leads to body, which we'll talk about in the next podcast. So make sure you subscribe and share this with somebody so that we can share this with more people.
Mm-hmm. And then you can also get a deeper understanding of parts of the mantra that we have: mind, body, spirit.
And so the visualization, not only do we need to know how to visualize, we need to know how to protect our mind.
Mm-hmm.
So there's questions we have. Who are we protecting from? What, where, when, and how?
How is the most important. If you don't get anything else, at least get how to protect your mind.
How? So who are we protecting it from?
We are protecting it from ourselves, from other people's thoughts, and that's pretty much it. Okay. We got environment. You got environmental factors that come into play. You got tragedies. You got big goals, big successes. But we're talking about protecting it. So it's really protecting it from those things. And what you're talking about, protect you from staying in the abyss.
Now, what is it in our mind that we are protecting? What we're protecting is definitely the sanity. How do we keep sane? How do we stay focused and on the river, or not get destroyed by this river? So we have where here. So where do you need to protect your mind?
You need to protect your mind really at all times. But how do you do that within yourself? So when you ask where,
that's the answer. Within yourself. So
I guess I'm already on the how. I gave the answer. Told you
Yeah.
the how is the most important, but the where is within yourself
and when
within your mind
all the time.
All the time.
And then how?
How? What we're talking about, one way is visualization. So if you're stuck in this dark abyss, one thing I love is that I went to school for, we went to school for film, but I have a minor in creative writing. You have a minor in digital media, right?
Using that mind.
Using that mind,
Remember.
right? Yeah, so creativity especially with the mind, can really help free you from so many situations. All we're doing is being creative, and we literally painted an image with words for you to think about in your head. So if we did that ourselves, why can't you do that for yourself? So if you're stuck in the abyss, just imagine something, it could be anything, that's helping pull you out of it.
A submarine.
A submarine.
Visualization.
Maybe you're like, I'm super strong, so I'm going to swim out of it myself.
I had a dream one time, which I think could help as visually, because it was just very like visceral and real for me. It was down in the abyss, and all this darkness, and I couldn't see, and this whale, this type of fish like Jonah was sucked into, grabbed me. It grabbed me out of the abyss, and it took me upwards. And so using that visualization, something to protect you, a submarine, a fish, a dolphin, a bubble. So you use your imagination, to use your mind to take you up higher if you're down there.
Another thing is, if you feel embarrassed about protecting your mind, which, I mean, you got to learn how not to be. You got to do it in every moment. But if you want to start in a safe place, a place that you feel safe. Home. Because when you're in a safe place, you can relax.
You can breathe.
You can let the river flow a lot more easily instead of it being so tense and tight in your body, which is starting to go into the body part of it. So we'll keep it with the mind.
Right. Right. And just the reason why I think it's important to know how to protect your mind, because you want to protect yourself from anxiety attacks, from panic attacks, from any situation that adrenaline is pumping. Through our martial arts training, since we were young, our dad just would always put the intensity on us. And the reason is,
always had the pressure,
because he used to train soldiers in the military. And so he was a training combat lifesaver. So
he was also very successful.
Very successful at it. Yeah, he was the truth at it. And so he would take that training into anything that we did. Like, all right, you got to really focus. And at 5 years old, throw this punch like this. You got to understand what the box in the window. And it's like, what's going on?
Make sure you bring your hand back. And he only would tell us once or twice. If we don't bring our hand back, bow.
Right in the face. Because our hand wasn't protecting our face. Protecting
our mind.
So if you have gone through something and you've overcome it, and you are thankful for it because it made you better, you've protected your mind before. So anything that you're going through now, anything that's happening, through losing anybody, through anything, even if it's positive, to be thankful for. You got to have a way, some tools to be able to protect yourself. So
here's another tool that I think is important. So it's easy for us to go in the downward spiral of all the failures that we have gone through, or all the traumas, and stay stuck with those. Now, one thing about it is that you may not be able to get rid of it, just like you can't get rid of the river, but you have to learn how to deal with it. You have to learn how to put a fortress up. You have to learn how to build that boat for you to be able to stay in the river safely. So one of the things that will help is, instead of looking at your failures, do the exact opposite. Look at your successes. What goals have you done?
Did you make the bed today?
I literally was just thinking that.
Did you make the bed today? You did something good, because when you come back to lay down, it's going to be made. Boom, I made the bed. Did I brush my teeth? Success.
Boom, that's another success.
Because some of y'all don't brush your teeth.
Did I wake up this morning and breathe?
Oh, and the breath. Oh, let me share this with you. Just the power of why breathing is so important, which is another tool to use to control your mind. And so, if you study the Bible, you understand that God is the living breath, and His original name, Yahweh, is actually a sacred name in Hebrew. And they say it's sacred, but we're saying it all the time, because the way to actually say it is through breathing. Like, it almost sounds like Yahweh. So any moment, that you have breath, you should be thankful for. And you are actually saying praises to God, whether you realize it or
With
not.
every single breath.
So just be thankful, because if we couldn't breathe, because we don't control oxygen, it could be gone tomorrow. It could be gone in an hour. So we should be thankful for now. And that's how we can build the mind, the muscle mind. Build the muscle mind by being thankful. By seeing what those
let's
successes
actually
can be.
bring it back to our last point, being reminded, which is also how to renew your mind. Because God wants us to always be renewed. He doesn't want us to stay in the old. I mean, think about it. You use a dish. We use these tea glasses. We have to wash them before we use them again. You don't want to keep using something dirty. So you got to renew your mind so that you cleanse it, so that it can hold or it can be used for the purpose that it needs.
So what is your purpose? Remind yourself, or find your purpose if you can't even remind yourself.
Use the scientific method. It's a cycle. It's like every breath is a cycle.
Like for us, our purpose, share martial arts through entertainment and filmmaking, and the gifts of being able to help people with what we've experienced, whether that be in the realm of the entertainment industry, that be the realm of martial arts, that be the realm of whatever it is that we do. So you also have that strength and that power and that knowledge. And we'll leave off with this verse from Romans 12:2. It says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. All positive, great, loving things for your abundance." So renew your mind. Don't conform to this world, and you'll do incredible. And on that note, that's been the third session for Martial Art Mindset. Again, make sure you hit subscribe, like, follow, and share this with somebody who's a martial artist or who said they wanted to get started with martial arts, because we want to share our passion and our love with as many people as we can. And so you doing that will help us out. So thank you all for listening. Remember, renew your mind. Be reminded that you have the strength to handle it mentally, physically, and spiritually. We're going to use our mind, body, spirit. We use our mind to think. We use our body to move. We use our spirit to spread love. And that's been Martial Arts Mindset. My name is Calvin.
My name is Kevin.
And we are the
Blasian Twins.